Hi, everyone. It's Reverend Therese Lee, Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head Island. Welcome to today. It's Sunday. It's the 8th of November, and I would like for us to start with any comments you might have in the chat box. I will make sure to respond to you then. And if you will let us know where you're from and any other thoughts you might have, any prayer requests, go ahead and put them in the box. And so let's begin today together, breathing, of course, and let's start in prayer. I'd like for us to start with our prayer for protection. And if you know it, go ahead and say it along with me. And if not, we will say it for you and with you. The light of God surrounds you. You are the light of God. The love of God enfolds you. You are the love of God. The power of God protects you. You are the power of God. The presence of God watches over you. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, wherever I am, God is. And because God is, all is well. And so we pray this in the name and after the nature and under the authority of the living, loving presence that is you and that is me. We are grateful for all of you watching from wherever it is that you watch, at whatever time that you watch, knowing that we are the change agents in the world. I love how unity, the name unity, is being bantered about. Yes. So join me in taking a breath. Lower your shoulders. Let the tongue come off the roof of your mouth. And know that we are at Unity, grateful for your presence and your consciousness that you bring each Sunday to this time together as you bless us. We are grateful. I'd like to open with some wisdom from a Native American. And it goes like this. The left wing and the right wing both belong to the same bird. That's us, guys. The United States of America. So grateful. It has been quite a week, hasn't it? For all of us. I was on spiritual renewal. However, I got a little distracted with phone calls and questions about what to do and all of that. And so it's all right. Unity, a word that's being bantered about. I love it. And we are it. You and I. We are unity expressing. And just because sometimes we need a reality check, I'd like for you to add to your prayer list 2 truth students, Unity truth students who got their angel wings this week, and we bless their souls ongoing. One is from our congregation here, and that's John Sampson, who has been living in California, and Hy Droff, who is a congregant of mine from Melbourne, who was living up in Wilmington. And so we bless their souls ongoing, and we take a moment to breathe. I got to tell you, it was a tough night trying to figure out what will I say today. Because what I know and what I want to do is honor everyone's feelings. Some are happy, some are sad, and every single feeling anyone is feeling is perfect for them. All are okay. The question that I think is being posed for me is, how do we continue to be unity as we go forward? Right? So today's talk topic is choices. We get to make choices. And this is probably the most powerful gift that I learned when I first came to Unity back in Chicago more than, I guess, let's see, would it be 34 years? Yes. Because up until then, I really only led a life of shoulds. I did things because I should do them. And then I learned, oh, wait a minute, I get to make a choice. So I started to learn back then that I can choose to wait on nothing and create the world that I want, right here and right now. And that's what we get to do. Wait on nothing and create the world we want right here and right now. I feel like this is so empowering for us, no matter what our emotional feelings are about the happening in the United States this week. Wait on nothing and create the world that we want. My dad was a lifelong coach, a big sports person in Chicago, a camp counselor, a teacher, and a Big Ten referee in both football and in basketball. And one of his greatest sharings of quotes to us 11 kids, yeah, you know I'm one of 11, as well as with his athletes, was, it is not your response to winning or losing that makes you a winner or a loser. It is how you respond to winning and losing that makes us a winner and a loser. Right? So this is something I do with my grandchildren. And after my grandson, who is 8, last year, gets frustrated playing cards. And one day he said to me after school, Nana, we're going to have a new way of playing cards. And I said, all right. He said, when I lose, I'm going to shake out my hand and say, good job. And I said, great. This is wonderful. 8 years old. So now when he loses, because I don't let him win all the time at cards, right? He'll say, great game, Nana. So let's have a great life together, right? This is what we teach in Unity. It's always about how we respond, choose to respond to whatever it is that's happening around us. So today it's kind of humid and it's kind of gray, but it's all right. It's Sunday. Doesn't make it be a bad day, right? Because I'm going to choose to respond to the weather in an appropriate way that allows me to be joyful. One of the things that we practice on our board of trustees of Unity Spiritual Center in Hilton Head is that we want to make change work for all. And this is one of the things we've been doing since COVID hit. Right, and our last in-person service was March 15th. With the CBY building still being closed and church being this service today, the midweek lifts, the prayer calls, everything that we do to continue being of sacred service to you. We want to make change work for all. We know that this is our responsibility, and we hold each other accountable for that. So this is what happens and why we have chosen to have prayer calls made every week to you. And if you'd like one of those, let me know in the box, right? And our prayer ambassadors are so honored to be of sacred service to you. So this morning, we're going to talk about choices. We're going to talk about choices. That's so empowering that we know that the greatest gift other than life itself, at least in my life, has been to understand that I get to make choices, right? Everybody breathe. We get to choose. And with our choices come natural results, or what we might call consequences. Yes? Yes. Right? So if I go outside later and it's raining and I choose not to bring my umbrella, I'm going to have wet hair, right? Again, a choice and a consequence. So the things that we're going to talk about today, we probably learned in kindergarten that serve us well. Our choices come with natural results and or consequences. New Thought teacher of the teacher back in the day, Emma Curtis Hopkins, wrote this: "The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is." Let me read it again. The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. We are powerful possibilitarians and wondrous manifestors. We make choices with every thought we think, consciously and sometimes unconsciously. And there is always going to be a natural result. Hopkins goes on to say, in fact, we could say that our lives are the natural result of the compilation of the choices we make. I love that this is considered new thought when really it's just thought. Yes? And it applies as it did back in the day and today. We can say that our lives are the natural result of the compilation of the choices that you and I have made. And I'm grateful that you made the choice to be with us today. And this is what really drew me back in the day of unity, because I didn't understand that my thoughts are what create my world, especially the ones that are unquestioned. And now I question them before I make a choice. And then I get to, based on my choice, choose, am I going to respond, which means I've breathed first, I've taken a breath, or am I going to react? We get to choose. So what I invite us to do today, and if you have a pen, you might want to write this down. We get to ask ourselves, can I afford the consequences of this choice, whatever it is? So I know that if I eat chocolate after 7 o'clock at night, Therese is going to be awake. So no, I cannot afford that choice. And I don't do it anymore. Unless I do, right? So we get to say that consequences, the natural outworking of the law, are for us based on the choices we make. So we get to step back, yes, lower our shoulders, and decide, let me observe this choice before I actually do it. Let me observe what I'm thinking. Another question you can write down is, when you're faced with a choice, will this choice bring me happiness? Will it embellish what I already am? Another true student and Unity author, Ella Wheeler Wilcox, don't say that fast, said, one ship drives east and the other drives west by the same winds that blow. We've seen this, haven't we, when we watch ships out on the ocean? 'Tis the set of the sails and not the gales that determine the way to go. So I'm wondering, how are you going to be setting your sails to take you in the direction that you want? As we live out our intention of being peace, yes, for the rest of this year. I wrote an article on that, was published on November 3rd in the Bluffton Sun, page 57A. How will you set your intention to be peace for the rest of this year? And I thank Lim Hummel and the staff at the Bluffton Sun for allowing me the honor to be a contributing editor. Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder, said this about choice. You do not have a problem except the one that is in your own mind, and you put it there. Unity is practical. How do we get something apply it to our life, and then let it be outpictured as us expressing. You do not have a problem, Myrtle said, except for the one that is in your own mind, and you put it there. We know this, don't we? We do when we ask somebody what they think a certain color is, and I may say that it's burgundy and someone else says it's red. It's how we see things. The number 6 upside down is a number 9. Does it make it wrong? No, it just is. And we get to be conscious of how it is we see things with our physical eyes. So with each thought, based on what Myrtle's saying, we get to choose whom we're going to serve. Are we going to serve love, happiness, peace, which are really other words for God, or something else? I invite you to choose that you would choose peace. There's another native motivational speaker whose name is Eagle Bear, and he wrote this: think of your life as a canoe and your decisions and actions as the paddle. You get where you are going one paddle stroke at a time. One decision and one action that each of us makes. I just got some canoes. Thank you, Martin. There is great power, Myrtle Fillmore says, in the moment-by-moment choices that you and I make. That's our third unity principle. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, right? So what we think about is going to be outpictured. Scripture tells us the same thing in these words from Proverbs 23, verse 7. As we think it in our mind, so we are. As we think it in our mind, so we are. What we get to control, you and I, are our thoughts, our attitudes, and our priorities. It's a wondrous place to be, that we get to be in charge of how it is we live our life, based on our responses or our reactions. There's a line in Course of Miracles, which is a class we offer on Thursday mornings via Zoom. And the line says this: I could choose peace instead of this, fill in the blank. You, could choose peace. Always and in all ways. I think it's exciting to think that's such an empowering thought, to choose peace over fear, peace over disappointment, compassion over judgment, to choose life going forward. Yes? We get to realize in this now moment together here today that we are not imprisoned by the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Nope. We get to respond and change our mind about what it is. We get to take responsibility for our choices and the choices we make. Response-ability, the ability to respond. Love that. I learned that from Brene Brown. Being able to respond. So empowering for us. And you know what? Sometimes we choose not to respond because we believe that we're a victim, right? When I feel like I'm a victim, I make somebody else wrong with me. And guess what? It smells because it's stinky. Stinking thinking, right? If I place blame, then I can't ever be truthful and honest with myself. So if I fix blame to a situation, then I can't fix the problem. So I spend time with myself and I say, wait a minute, why am I choosing to see that person that way? Someone asked a minister this week online, well, how do you change somebody? Well, that's never our job. However, if that's a choice we make, we choose to see them differently. And where does the change happen? Inside of me, right? Because I have different eyes on how it is that I'm seeing them. So the point is, basically, that it's not about what life brings to us in the year 2020 with COVID and all sorts of other things happening this year, right? It's about the attitude that you and I bring to life. So not what life brings to us, but the attitude we bring to the life that we have. And we've said this before. Attitudes are contagious. The question is yours worth catching? So in some situations, I think you'll agree, up to date, that maybe our choices might have been limited. Yes? Depends on how it is and where it is you grew up. Yeah? And what I know and what I've learned, especially in my 34 years in Unity, is that sometimes some situations mean my choice is simply about acceptance. Everybody lowering their shoulders and breathing. We get to be powerful through our acceptance, right? So you've heard this, that you can't control the cards that you've been dealt, right? We know this. I just took bridge lessons. We really know that, right? However, I get to decide, you get to decide how we're going to play the hand that we're dealt. And therein lies our power. Therein lies my power. Therein lies your power. How will you play the hand that you've been dealt? And I liken it to, when you're in a buffet, we haven't been in one of those, right, since March. However, when we're at a buffet, you don't rally against the foods, or like diss the foods you don't like on the buffet, right? You go to the ones you like and you avoid choosing the ones you don't like. Yeah? It's true. Life is a buffet. One thing I do when people ask me, why is this happening? I usually will say, I say more and more, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know this. I know that within this situation, whatever it is, fill in the blank, there is an opportunity for you, the person asking the question, to find the power within themselves to rise above it. First of all, when we ask the question why, it makes us a victim. So I like to encourage us to say, what? What is trying to get my attention that this would be happening, right? So know that when a why comes, they're all right to ask. Always ask questions. I'm a question girl. And know that I will pray with you and support you through it. So will our prayer chaplains, and Mary Ann is our prayer chaplain coordinator, right? So the question is, can I find the power within me to rise above whatever it is that's bugging me, right? And wait a minute, why am I allowing it to bug me? So that is a why question. So again, we say every week, we don't tell you what to think in Unity. We do ask you to think, and then we ask you to question what it is you're thinking. There's a whole process of it. So when we find ourselves wondering about the why question, yes, I believe that I have a why in the world, and the why in the world for me is to love out loud. Why on earth is Therese here? To love out loud. I do that through being a minister and a nana and a sister and a friend, right? So I believe there are whys in the world for us to fulfill. And in situations where the why comes up, I think it's much more empowering for us to wonder, how can this be used to bring about the power within me and glorify God. How is it that you and I are glorifying God? With each and every step we take, with each thought we think, our words and our actions. Because I believe that's our job, to be God expressing in this world. So back in the days before I was a before I was a minister, I was a publisher. And I learned then that the expression turning over a new leaf refers to turning the page. That's what we're doing today. That's what we've been doing this week. Just as the plot in the novel changes from page to page, I'm an avid reader, we get to change our lives. We get to choose if we can deal with peace or fear of taking the risk to change our minds. Greg Lavoie, in a book called Callings, says this: human life, in some ways, is a sense of the chronicling of the land animal caught between its desire to sprout wings and fly and to retrace its steps back into the sea. The chronicle of a land animal caught between its desire to sprout wings and or retrace its steps back into the sea. That's how he explains human life. So when we encounter what we call setbacks, maybe we can see them differently and realize there are no failures, right? Only blessings, and only results that we get to move through at various experience levels, remembering that the universe is for us, that God is, and therefore we are. It's our first principle, everybody. One presence and one power, active in the universe and in our life. God, the good, is what we call it in unity. I talked to some people this week who don't use the word God. And I said, that's all right. Use whatever word you want, right? It's okay. We get to seek the kingdom every time we take a moment to have a prayer, whatever that looks like for you. I got some time with some birds at the beach this week. And we allow, when we stop the busyness of how it is we're going to figure it out, to let Spirit have its way in through and as us. One of the words this week for Daily Word was guidance, which you know I say, God, you and I dance. And Spirit directs us on a path that blesses us. When we choose to respond with the ability to see things differently, to have a life we want, to resolve to be a master of change. Change in my life was thrust upon me, and now I like it. I embrace it. And I know that's not the way with y'all, and it's okay. Because once we make a choice, I'm going to say, to be a change agent, then change will always come as a gift. And what we know is that change is as constant as life is. Today, we're going to see sunshine. I saw it this morning. Now we have clouds. We'll see rain. There is change always happening. So, whatever's happening in your life today, whatever it is that is a catalyst that's going to be a jumping off point for you this week, I invite you to see it as an opportunity to choose your way on how it is you're going to deal with it. Yes? To see it as a time to embrace it as transformation, the evolution of your consciousness and my consciousness. as we're kind and allow everybody to feel what they're feeling. And we know that loss equals grief. And so that's another way of acknowledging people's feelings. We have COVID as a loss, right? No church building as a loss. The election as a loss for some. It's all right. No judgment. Acceptance is where we're headed. So our takeaway points for today. Choose to live your life as you want. You are empowered to do that, and remember what Jesus said. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yes? Jesus was teaching the law of mind action, our third unity principles. The energy, which is what you and I are, we set in motion, returns to us. Right? Number 2, choose to accept responsibility for our thoughts, our minds, yes, our words and our actions. And with the freedom that we get, which is ours always, we get to choose to wish for things to be different, to see things differently, to make things happen differently, as we're responsible for our responses. Yes? And our third takeaway, make a difference. Make a difference with your responses. How is it you will comfort a friend? How is it that you might send a card to John Sampson's wife, Tucky? How is it that you might decide, how will I give to the homeless shelter or a food bank? How is it that I will make sure somebody has a coat this winter? We get to express the love that we are. Because I believe that's who you have come here to be. Love expressing in this world. Living life here where our humanity meets our divinity in each and every moment. Spiritual beings. Experiencing some humanity this week. Yes, we know that. And my encouraging words are for you too. Breathe through it and know that God is. So close your outer eyes now as we take a time of meditation, a time of prayer together. Again, if you have a prayer intention, write it in the box. If you want to receive our emails, write it in the box. If you want a phone call, write it in the box. We're here for you. Sacred servants at Unity Spiritual Center of Hilton Head. And so we say thank you. Thank you in this moment. Thank you for my life. Say that with me. I am thankful for my life. Thank you for my life. Living, loving presence, we are grateful. Grateful for the guidance that comes, for the direction that comes. As we spend time in the quiet with you, out in nature, with music on, whatever it is, when we set the intention to hear the guidance that comes from within. Thank you for the reminder that I am, that you are, that we are collectively created in love, by love, to be love. We could all just wear name tags that say love on them. Wouldn't that be fun? The next meeting in person. Each of us, right now, in the silence of this prayer that we're sharing, we get to find the peace that expresses as us, that we desire to see in the world. We get to be it. And we know as we access the spiritual place within us, truth lives as us. And it is our readiness and our willingness to accept the peace that we are that creates the change in the world. Start with yourself. Then move into your home. So it's me and my plants. We're going to experience peace today. And then we get to take it out in the world and be it. Unity author Joel Goldsmith says this: true freedom is in the joyous song of life sung when we find peace within. So choose a song this week of peace. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Call me, send me a text, email, put a note on the website, any prayer intentions that we can hold with and for you. Know that we honor wherever you are on your spiritual path here at Unity Spiritual Center in Hilton Head. And as you're so moved, know that we lovingly receive your contributions as spiritual gifts to Unity Spiritual Center via snail mail and a check and a love note. Thank you for those. Or via our website, PayPal or credit card, so that we can continue to do the will and the work that is God expressing as unity here in the Low Country. And so it is, and so we let it be. Thank you for your consciousness and your presence this day. Many blessings. Namaste.